Happy Monday, Thrive Nation. Welcome to Thrive Nation Inspiration. I am your host today, Dr. Tiana. If you are new here, I am the CEO of Mended Hope. I'm a coach, mentor, and life strategist, helping women increase their resilience and strengthen their walk with God. And today I want to check in and talk about tribes. I want you to be thinking this week about who is in your tribe. And I was having a conversation with one of my close girlfriends recently, and she was sharing with me how she was actually sharing with me a story about a conversation that she had with one of her friends. And she was explaining how she maps out her friendships, or how she thinks about her friendships. And she was explaining how, there are intimate friends, those that are really, really close and that she can share personal things and secrets with. And then there are close friends who, she views as very important people and instrumental in her life, but they aren't necessarily in that close inner circle of intimate friends. And then she shared that she has associates, which are, people that maybe she is cordial with, and they may be actually friends of another friend that she would maybe hang out with when they're all together, but they wouldn't necessarily hang out individually. And then she talked about people who were kind of in her realm, like maybe people that she would see at church, or, that she would just kind of be cordial to, friendly with, right? And so having this conversation with her, it really started to get me thinking about, do you, Thrive Nation community, do you actually think about your relationships in that way? Have you come to reconcile that there are specific categories that people fall into in our lives, and that when we talk about that intimate group, that we can generally only be devoted to a select few. And so in that most interspace area of your life, you wouldn't necessarily want to have tons of people, right? But those people that you do have in that space, what is the quality of those relationships? What is the quality of those people? Are they people that you feel like you can confide in, that you can rely on? Is there reciprocity? Are you giving and taking, right? I think that oftentimes what's happening and what I'm seeing a lot with some of our clients is that there's this culture of take. And I think that as high impact women try to navigate their lives, there are a lot of pulls, on us. There's a lot of demand for our time and our energy and our genius, right? And so there are people who see that, and they naturally want to be connected to that, and they want to be involved in that, and they want to be, in your world and in your mix. But I think that we have to be more thoughtful about who we allow in our space, and get very clear about what area they fall in, right? And so my conversation with my girlfriend was super impactful, because it made me really think about who I have in those different circles, and actually be extremely grateful that I do have amazing friendships, and I have an amazing tribe of sisters that will show up for me in ways that matter. And when I think about this, I also think about Jesus, right? Jesus had a tribe, right? He had the ability to influence the multitudes, right? However, he only discipled a few. And so even he had a small circle of people that knew him intimately and that were intricately involved in his life. And so I think that is a phenomenal model to think about our lives in reference to that, because Not everybody is ready. Not everybody is equipped. Not everybody is healthy enough to always be in that inner circle and that intimate space in our lives. And sometimes when we are maybe growing or facing a life disruption, we almost have to, I don't want to say isolate, I'm going to say incubate. We sometimes have to create almost this bubble, right? Like this, when I say incubate now, it makes me think of like a newborn, like a premature baby, right? Like when life disruption happens or something traumatic happens that kind of catches us off guard and maybe throws us off our center, we often go into let me say this, it's often necessary for us to go into that mode where we incubate and we kind of hunker down and we be very thoughtful and intentional about who is being allowed to speak into our lives, to speak into our situations. And oftentimes I don't think that we are as thoughtful or as intentional about that. And so then we share things that are happening in crises or at a vulnerable moment. And it's not necessarily that the person intends to negatively impact us or hurt us, but it's just that we were not wise in how we discerned and decided how we would share the experiences of our lives with who and at what time, right? And so I really want to encourage you to think about that and to think about, who, if it all hit the fan today, tomorrow, who is in your corner and who do you have in your realm of influence that can speak to your situation, that can feed you faith and not fear. Oftentimes when life disruptions happen. I was talking to my sister the other day and I said, it's time for war. And you got to have the right army. And that's what it makes me think of, like when things happen and we're caught off guard and we have to regroup, we have to make sure, you have to make sure that you have the right people in the army to go to war with you. And so hopefully this gives you a little bit of something to think about, a little nugget to take with you and to remind you that it's important. It's important who is in your space and who you allow into your world. And if you take a look at it and you realize that maybe it's not ideal or it's not how you would like it to be, assess and adjust. You can always change. You can always shift. Heaven has already given you permission to grow and thrive and to evolve. And so if you find that list or that group of women or people that you think maybe should be in that space, but are not ready for that space or are not showing up in ways that matter to you, you may have to adjust and move them to a different, ring, I guess I would think of it. I kind of think of it as like a target, like a bullseye type of target where it's like you've got that core center and then you have the outer rings, right? Where people kind of get shifted out as you grow and evolve. And so that is my little tidbit for you this week for Thrive Nation Inspiration. To think about who is in your tribe. Who do you have? Do you need to make some adjustments? Are you at a space where you can assess and adjust? Or are you finding yourself really proud of who's in your tribe? And I will say this one last thing. Quite a few years ago, I was maybe mid-20s, and I had really great girlfriends. However, I really had a desire to develop stronger relationships with women who were also Christ-centered. And so for probably, I would say maybe a year, I would journal and write as one of my prayer requests for the Lord to bring me sisters in Christ. And I have to say that actually recently, when I had moved, I was reading through some of those older journals and I read some of those prayers of things that I had asked for years ago. And that actually makes me think of another thing that is actually extremely important. And it is to be writing down these experiences as you're doing this self-reflection and this introspection, to write it down, because oftentimes God moves on our behalf and we don't always recognize it. We just, recognize that we're in a different place, but we don't always have proper perspective of where we came from. And so journaling and being able to capture those moments in time and being able to look back on them in retrospect. And for me, it was like, God, thank you. Like, I asked for more sisters in Christ and you have given me more than a few. And so I am thankful for that on today. I'm thankful for my tribe, and I want you to be thankful for your tribe too, and feel very supported and loved and nurtured in those relationships, because they make you better. They make you better and they help you see yourself clearly. So that's all I got for real this time. I hope you guys have a great rest of the week, and we'll check in again next Monday. Love y'all.